Welcome back to the Quarterly Call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional. Today, we're diving into the world of AI and how it's impacting the networking space, especially for those massive GPU clusters everyone's talking about.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating area because the demands of AI are unlike anything we've seen before in data centers.
It's not just about handling more data, it's about handling it differently.
Right, exactly. Think about traditional data centers. They're designed with a certain amount of oversubscription, meaning the network can handle more traffic than it's likely to see at any given time. But AI flips the script. Those back-end networks need to run at 100% throughput constantly.
Wow, that's intense. Why is that? What makes AI so demanding on the network?
It all boils down to the nature of AI workloads, particularly training large language models or other complex algorithms. These processes require a constant stream of data flowing between the GPUs. Any interruption or slowdown can significantly impact the training time and efficiency, costing companies a lot of money and wasted resources.
So it's like a high-stakes race,
Yeah.
where even a minor hiccup can cost you the win. Makes sense that companies like Arista are focusing so heavily on this area. We've got some great insights from their top brass, Martin Hull, the VP of Cloud and AI Platforms, and Brendan Gibbs, VP of Product Line Management, from their interview at the Wells Fargo TMT Summit. They have a lot to say about the future of AI networking.
Arista's been making some bold claims, especially about their commitment to Ethernet for AI.
Yeah, they've put a $750 million revenue target on Ethernet for AI. And they're not even considering InfiniBand. That's a pretty strong statement. What's driving that decision?
Well, there are a few key factors at play here. One is supply chain diversity. After all the supply chain disruptions we've seen recently, companies want options. They don't want to be reliant on a single vendor, and Ethernet offers a much broader ecosystem than InfiniBand.
So it's like not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
From a supply chain perspective, that makes sense. But isn't InfiniBand known for its performance, especially in high-performance computing?
It is, but Ethernet has been catching up rapidly, and Arista argues that a multi-vendor, standards-based approach like Ethernet fosters faster innovation. They point to Ethernet's 50-year history of constant evolution and improvement as evidence of that.
It's like the old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Cool.
With more companies involved in developing and improving Ethernet, the technology advances more quickly. But what about cost? Is Ethernet competitive with InfiniBand in terms of price per gigabit?
Arista believes that the ecosystem-driven innovation in Ethernet leads to more affordable solutions. And they're not alone in this thinking. Several major companies building their own AI accelerators are choosing Ethernet-only solutions.
So it sounds like Ethernet has some serious momentum. But I'm curious, is there any scenario where InfiniBand might still have an edge in the AI networking world?
It's definitely possible. InfiniBand has a long history in high-performance computing, and it still holds some performance records. There might be specific niche applications where its raw speed is still a deciding factor. However, even in those cases, the trend seems to be towards Ethernet.
It's fascinating to see how this debate is playing out, but it's not like Ethernet is sitting still, right? They're constantly evolving and improving.
Wow.
What's on the horizon for Ethernet in the AI space?
We're starting to see the emergence of Ultra Ethernet, driven by the Ultra Ethernet Consortium, or UEC. This is a group of companies, including Arista, who are working together to develop a new standard called Ultra Ethernet Transport, or UET.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's so ultra about it?
UET is designed to make large-scale AI networks easier to manage and more affordable. It's tackling some of the inherent challenges of managing Ethernet at scale, particularly when dealing with the intense demands of AI workloads.
Can you give me some specifics? How is UET going to simplify things?
Well, for one, it's focusing on reducing complexity, especially when it comes to managing network congestion and ensuring that data transmission is lossless. That means fewer headaches for network administrators who are trying to keep these massive AI systems running smoothly.
I can imagine that's a huge relief.
Yeah.
So less time tweaking settings and more time focusing on the bigger picture.
Absolutely. UET also introduces some interesting features like packet spraying.
Packet spraying. That sounds intriguing. What is that?
Imagine you're trying to water a large garden with a hose. If you focus the stream on one spot, you might overwater that area while leaving other parts dry. Packet spraying is similar. It distributes data traffic more evenly across the network, preventing bottlenecks and improving overall performance.
So it's like a smart traffic management system for your AI data. That makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And another crucial aspect of UET is its focus on integrated security. Unlike some other networking technologies, UET will include native encryption. This is essential for protecting sensitive data, especially in multi-tenant cloud environments, where multiple companies share the same infrastructure.
That's a big deal for cloud providers who are trying to attract customers concerned about data security.
Absolutely. Security is paramount in the cloud, and UET seems to be addressing that head-on.
So we've talked about Arista's big bet on Ethernet and the exciting developments with Ultra Ethernet. But what about the competitive landscape? Who are they up against in this race for AI networking dominance?
Arista sees Cisco and NVIDIA as their main rivals in this space.
It's interesting that NVIDIA is in that mix. I usually think of them as the GPU powerhouse, not necessarily a networking company.
They're definitely expanding their reach. NVIDIA has developed their own networking solutions specifically for AI, like their Spectrum X platform.
And they've made some pretty bold performance claims, haven't they?
Yes. NVIDIA claims that Spectrum X is 1.6 times faster than traditional Ethernet. However, Arista points out that this comparison is a bit misleading. NVIDIA is comparing their solution to non-optimized Ethernet, not to Arista's latest Etherlink platform, which is specifically designed for AI workloads.
So it's not exactly an apples-to-apples comparison. It sounds like there's a bit of marketing spin going on there.
There's always some of that in the tech world, but Arista emphasizes that their focus is on working closely with customers to design and optimize their networks for peak performance. They have a number of high-profile clients who publicly praise Arista's solutions and their impact on their AI initiatives.
It's always good to have happy customers who are willing to vouch for your work. Now, beyond Cisco and NVIDIA, are there any other players worth mentioning in the AI networking space?
We can't forget about companies like HPE and Dell. They have a strong presence in both computing and networking, which gives them a competitive edge. And we're also seeing some Chinese vendors starting to make their mark in this market.
It's definitely a global competition. But circling back to Arista, it sounds like they're in a strong position to capitalize on the growth of AI. What are they saying about the long-term demand for these types of networking solutions?
Arista believes that AI is here to stay and that it's going to be a major driver of growth for the foreseeable future. Hyperscale companies who are at the forefront of AI development are already seeing a return on their investments in AI, which is fueling continued demand for powerful networking infrastructure.
So it's not just hype. Companies are seeing real, tangible benefits from AI, and that's translating into real dollars being spent on supporting that growth.
Exactly. And as AI adoption expands beyond those hyperscalers and into more traditional businesses, the demand for AI networking solutions is only going to increase. Arista, with its broad portfolio of high-quality networking products, is well-positioned to benefit from this trend.
They seem to have a solid strategy in place. But what about the future? Where's the industry headed in terms of network speeds and capabilities?
The industry is on a fast track to higher speeds. We've moved from 400 gig to 800 gig Ethernet, and now we're looking at 1.6 terabit speeds on the horizon.
That's incredible. Can you even imagine the amount of data that can be moved at those speeds?
It's mind-boggling, and Arista claims they're ready to support those speeds as they become available. They're investing heavily in R&D to stay ahead of the curves.
It sounds like they're taking the long view, preparing for a future where AI is ubiquitous. I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the broader implications of all this. We've discussed the technical details of AI networking, but what does it all mean for businesses and individuals? How is this AI-powered future going to impact our lives?
It's a question that has a lot of people thinking and speculating. The possibilities are incredibly vast. We're already seeing AI being used in fields like healthcare, finance, and transportation, and its influence is only going to grow.
It's exciting to think about the potential benefits, like personalized medicine, faster drug discovery, and safer self-driving cars.
Absolutely. But it's also important to acknowledge the potential downsides and to approach AI development and deployment with caution.
Right. There are concerns about job displacement, algorithmic bias, and even the potential misuse of AI for malicious purposes. It's crucial to have ethical guidelines and regulations in place to ensure that AI is used responsibly.
I completely agree. We need to be thoughtful and proactive in addressing these challenges. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
It's our responsibility to steer it in the right direction.
We need to have a societal conversation about the role we want AI to play in our lives. and to ensure that it aligns with our values and goals.
It's a conversation that we all need to be part of. Now, I know a lot of people are worried about the impact of AI on jobs. What are your thoughts on that?
It's understandable that people are concerned. There's no doubt that some jobs will be automated as AI becomes more sophisticated. But history has shown that technological advancements also create new jobs and industries that we couldn't have anticipated.
Like, who could have predicted the rise of social media influencers or drone pilots 20 years ago?
Exactly. The key is to be adaptable and to embrace lifelong learning. We need to equip ourselves with the skills and knowledge that will be in demand in this AI-powered future.
That's great advice. So to summarize, AI is poised to have a profound impact on our world, and networking is going to play a critical role in enabling this transformation.
Arista seems well positioned to capitalize on this trend, but they face stiff competition from companies like Cisco and NVIDIA.
And while the potential benefits of AI are immense, we also need to be mindful of the risks and to work towards responsible AI development and deployment.
It's an exciting time to be following this space, but it's also a time for thoughtful reflection and careful planning.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more point that came up in the Arista interview. They talk about the concept of AI eventually becoming so integrated into the data centers that it becomes difficult to distinguish what's AI and what's not.
It's an intriguing thought. Just like cloud computing went from being this separate thing to being an integral part of how we compute today, AI seems to be on a similar trajectory.
So in the future, everything will be AI-powered to some extent.
It's a possibility, and that has significant implications for companies like Arista, who are building the infrastructure for this AI-powered future.
They need to be adaptable and forward-thinking to stay ahead of the curve. Now, another interesting point that Martin Hull made was about the refresh cycle for GPU clusters. We know that traditional data centers go through these cycles, where hardware is upgraded or replaced. But what about these massive AI deployments? How often will those need to be refreshed?
That's a great question, and one that doesn't have a simple answer. As GPUs become more powerful, and as new AI models emerge that require even more computational power, we're likely to see a faster refresh cycle for AI clusters than for traditional data centers.
That could be a huge opportunity for companies like Arista. They could leverage their existing relationships and expertise to help customers manage these upgrades seamlessly.
It's a strategic advantage they could definitely exploit.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground already, but I want to circle back to the Ethernet versus InfiniBand debate for a moment. What are the key factors that make Ethernet seem so likely to win out in the long run?
As we've discussed, supply chain diversity is a major advantage for Ethernet. Companies want options, and the multi-vendor ecosystem of Ethernet provides that.
And that diversity also fosters innovation,
Yeah.
right? With more companies contributing to the development of Ethernet, the technology is likely to advance more rapidly.
Exactly. And let's not forget about cost. Ethernet has a history of becoming more affordable over time, thanks to economies of scale and competition.
Value for money is always a compelling argument.
And finally, we can't ignore the fact that major players like Google and Meta have publicly stated their preference for Ethernet for their AI infrastructure.
Actions speak louder than words, and these companies are putting their money where their mouths are.
Their endorsements carry a lot of weight in the industry and signal a strong vote of confidence in the future of Ethernet for AI.
Now, we've talked quite a bit about Ultra Ethernet and its potential to simplify the management of large-scale AI networks. But can you delve a little deeper into how it actually achieves that? What are the key innovations that make it so much easier to manage than traditional Ethernet?
That's a great question. One of the key innovations in Ultra Ethernet Transport, or UET, is its focus on reducing the complexity of managing congestion and ensuring lossless data transmission. Traditional Ethernet, while capable, can become quite complex to manage at the scale required for large AI clusters.
So UET is like taking a powerful but somewhat unruly tool and making it more user-friendly.
That's a good analogy. UET introduces new techniques and features that make it much easier to handle the massive amounts of data that flow through AI networks without sacrificing performance or reliability. For instance, UET incorporates advanced congestion management mechanisms that help prevent data packets from getting dropped or delayed, ensuring a smooth and efficient flow of information between the GPUs.
That sounds crucial for those time-sensitive AI training processes we talked about earlier. Any other tricks up UET's sleeve?
Another key innovation is the use of packet spraying, which we touched on briefly. It intelligently distributes data across multiple paths in the network, preventing bottlenecks and ensuring that no single link gets overwhelmed.
So instead of cramming all the data through one narrow pipe, it's like creating multiple lanes for the data to flow smoothly.
Precisely. This helps to maximize network utilization and ensures that the GPUs are always fed with the data they need to keep crunching numbers.
It sounds like UET is addressing some of the key pain points that network administrators face when dealing with AI workloads. But what about security? Is that also a focus for UAT?
Absolutely. Security is paramount in today's world, especially when dealing with sensitive AI data. UET incorporates native encryption, ensuring that data is protected as it travels across the network.
So it's like having a built-in security guard for your data, making sure that only authorized parties can access it.
Exactly. And this is a significant advantage over some other networking technologies like InfiniBand, which often require additional layers of security to be added on top.
It sounds like UET is a real game changer for AI networking, offering a compelling combination of performance, scalability, manageability, and security.
It has the potential to be a major force in the industry, and it's definitely something to watch closely as the AI landscape continues to evolve.
Now, stepping back for a moment, see, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects of AI and networking, but what does all of this mean for the average person? How is this AI-powered future going to impact our everyday lives?
That's a big question, and the truth is, we're still in the early stages of this AI revolution, but we're already seeing glimpses of how AI is going to transform our world.
Like in healthcare, where AI is being used to diagnose diseases more accurately and to develop personalized treatment plans.
Exactly. And in finance, where AI is helping to detect fraud, manage investments, and provide personalized financial advice. And, of course, in transportation, with the development of self-driving cars.
It's amazing to think about all the potential applications of AI, but it's also important to be aware of the potential downsides, as we discussed earlier.
Absolutely. We need to have open and honest conversations about the ethical implications of AI, the potential for job displacement, and the risks of bias and misuse.
It's our collective responsibility to ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly, and that it benefits humanity as a whole.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've learned about the intense demands of AI on networks, Arista's big bet on Ethernet, the emergence of Ultra Ethernet, the competitive landscape, and the broader implications of this AI-powered future.
It's a dynamic and rapidly evolving field, and it's been a pleasure exploring it with you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.